What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world. So sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a former marketing expert turned entrepreneurial coach. His name is Coach Dan of Dan Gordon Enterprise. Welcome, Coach Dan, to the show. Excited to have you here.
Deanna, I am so thrilled to be. I've been listening to your show. I love your audience. I cannot wait to provide everybody with a lot of value. Let's dig in.
Yeah.
All right.
And I forgot to mention, he's also a podcast host. So he knows what it's about.
Absolutely. And this is what I do. Like, I love talking to entrepreneurs, right? I mean, look, entrepreneurs are going to save us, right?
Yes.
9-to-5ers, like, come on. You're not hitting it hard enough. Entrepreneurs, we hit it big. And that's why, and I'll just plug it. My show is called For Badass Entrepreneurs Only because my life is about badass entrepreneurs like yourself, Deanna.
Yeah, I love it. The energy you bring is phenomenal. So you have I already know your backstory, but the audience does not. So you had a very expensive lesson in the market industry that brought you to where you are today. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that and what was like that shift for you to become an entrepreneurial coach?
Yeah. So, I'll say it this way. About 8 years ago, I was a man in a very unusual position, right? I was face down on my carpet in a pool of snot and tears. And the reason I was there is because about a week prior, my marketing company, the Big Time Group, had collapsed. And in about a month, I lost $80,000. I was another $30,000, $40,000 in debt. No prospects for the future. I was losing my home, like, who knows what was going to happen, right? But worse than that, Deanna, it was my identity, right? I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was anymore. And that's what happens when we fail, right? We have this ego structure of who we are that we attach to what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
All right. And when we lose that, we lose ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And so, right. So even though I was at the depths of despair, right, I knew what to do. I called a friend. And if you're listening, like, nothing great was ever accomplished alone, right? Like, in this country, we have this concept of the self-made person doesn't exist.
Right.
Everything great happened with help. Called a friend and she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, the thing I want to do, I can't do. And she goes, what is that? And so a little bit of backstory. I used to teach a personal development course. I flew around the country and in Europe teaching these intensive 3-day seminars and have always been a facilitator, a coach in one form or another. And so I said, I want to be a coach, but for entrepreneurs, not this personal development stuff, but for people who hit it hard.
Yeah.
And she said, we'll do that. And I said, well, who's going to hire a business coach who just failed at business? And she said, I don't know. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, let's not market yourself that way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, clearly, right. Yeah, that wasn't on my website. So to jump ahead, 8 months later, almost to the day I was on that floor, I walked out on stage in Dallas, Texas, being paid $10,000 for my very first speaking gig. Now, it's an exciting story, but the interesting part of the story is in between the floor and that stage, because that was a time of massive transformation. It was gut-wrenching. It was hard. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea if it was going to be success or failure, but I kept moving forward. And that's what I help people with, right? I help take them into, this space of uncertainty where you're terrifically disoriented. Because everything that you knew, it's sort of like you wiping the whiteboard of your life completely clean. But you go into that a little lost. You find yourself and you come out a greater version of who you are. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So do you still feel like you failed, or do you feel like that was a stepping stone to where you are today?
The failure part of it, Deanna, was very, very short. Now, I had been doing this kind of developmental work for a long time. So even though I was in the depths of despair, I knew it wasn't the end of my story.
Right.
I knew it was the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where a lot of people get lost. Like, oh, I failed. Like, well, that's the middle of the story. It's not the end. Yeah. Right? Like, in Star Wars, like when the Millennium Falcon gets sucked into the Death Star, imagine if the credits rolled.
Yeah.
Like, wait, hold on, what the hell? This is not the end of the story,
Yeah.
right? How's it work out, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's the way you have to look at life too. That your failures are the middle, and that there is an amazing comeback on the other side.
Yeah.
And so the failure part lasted for a little while. Like I gave myself about a month or so of just this sad feeling. I, hung out on the couch, watched TV, and then things started to move inside of me because I'm unwilling to live in despair.
Yeah.
And that's a part of success. You have to have that. Like you can't beat yourself up about it, but you also have to be unwilling to live in despair.
Right. Well, I think that's what the difference is that sets you apart from someone else that's not willing to get out of that. And I think, we talk about being label free, and that label of failure can be very heavy. And I think especially for men can be very heavy.
It is
to carry around, because I think a lot of their ego and a lot of like who they think that they are is wrapped up in their success.
Very much so. And that is something that I had to really contend with, because I had to separate myself from what I call the 3D world, right? So I'll say it this way. The things that you can point to, Deanna, that are success and failure and everything in between are just the physical manifestation of who you are. So I'll say it this way.
Okay.
What happened during that time of transformation is I realized that I actually created the end of my business. The thing is, I hate marketing. I'm just good at it.
Yeah.
Right? But it was never supposed to be a career, right? I screwed up, right? And so what I did is, beneath the level of my awareness, I hired a guy who's a pathological liar.
Yeah.
But I hired him without really realizing it to destroy the business because I wanted to get out of it, right? So I was ready to transform how I thought about myself. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And my attachment to my ego is why I was unwilling to let go of that business. Now, if I had been on top of things like I am now, I would have said, oh, it's time to get the hell out of here. This is not who I am.
Yeah.
Right. And so I would have reinvented myself without having to lose $80,000. Right. But really, it was the best 80 grand I ever spent. Let's be honest. And I made it back, tenfold. So we're okay.
Yeah. That's beautiful right there. I mean, it was a very expensive lesson to be learned, right?
It was. But look, I mean, so was college. So was everything else. Right. So it is.
So fast forward to being Coach Dan Gordon of Enterprises. When did that? So you stepped on the stage eight months after that. Following in despair, and during that time, is that when this enterprise was born?
Well, okay. So the actual crash happened when I was in Washington D.C. I was on a trip with my family, and that's when everything fell apart. Now, after I called my friend, I went to my favorite place in the world, the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. Yes, I'm a geek. And standing there in front of the model of the Enterprise, I said, that's what I'm naming my business, Dan Gordon Enterprise, because I was going to boldly go where I'd never gone before. And I was going to learn how to do it and take people with me. Yeah. So in creating Dan Gordon Enterprise, now LLC, it was the idea of doing things very differently and experiencing things without certainty.
Sure.
And that is the core of entrepreneurialism. If you're looking for certainty, get a job. Yeah. Because this is uncertainty, but it is the only way that you can achieve your greatest self. Like I've studied successful people all of my professional life, from Gandhi to Dr. King to Mother Teresa, Richard Branson, like all of them, right?
Yeah.
And they all have this thing where they're willing to be uncertain. They're willing to paint a target on themselves. No, I'm not trying to be funny when I say that.
Yeah.
But, right? And you've had that, I mean, people come at you, right? Like, who do you think you are? You think you're so great. Like, I hear this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I'm a narcissist. I'm full of myself, right? But it's because I am free of the attachment to other people's opinions of me. I can't be controlled. And when you're truly an entrepreneur, that's what you have to step into. You have to step into the fire of other people's disapproval of you. Yeah. But when you stand in that fire long enough, it burns off that sort of that old outer layer of who you were, and you come into the world new.
Yeah. Love that. That was awesome. Hi, guys. This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. I'm here to share another exciting partnership with you. I have joined forces with doTERRA. They are the leading provider of high-quality essential oils. I've got some here I like to consume, the ones that are consumable. So like sweet orange is really great. I also really, really love their toothpaste. Natural whitening and just kind of really helps clean your mouth. You know, we do carry a lot of germs in our mouth, but I've loved this toothpaste. I've ordered it many times. These are some supplements. Here is the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Really great products, high quality products. Definitely recommend it. I also really love the collagen. NMN is a proven anti-aging product. So the collagen and the NMN together is a real game changer. I'm big into collagen. I believe it. I've been taking it for like 20 years before it's even gotten so popular. And that's probably why I maintain my skin elasticity, my hair and nails. I highly recommend checking out doTERRA if you're a fan of high quality essential oils. Not all essential oils are created the same. Go click the links in the description, sign up, or take advantage of one of my bundles that I'm recommending to you with the toothpaste, also the cleaning products and the supplements. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you, and stay tuned for more to come. What kind of entrepreneurs do you work with? And like, what does that look like for that ideal avatar that you work with?
So first of all, I just want to say we haven't gotten to the part where I'm really showing your audience a lot of value. So if you're listening, we're going to get there. Okay.
Okay. I think you've shared a lot of value already. Just the resilience and the unwillingness to let life hold you down, because it happens. I think when we're going through a very rough time, we're about to, when we get on the other side of that, there's something great on the other side. And that, like what I tell people is that you got to embrace that pain and that tough, because that's when you are really built, and it shows what you're made of, because on the other side of that is something so great and so much better.
So much, right? And look, the fact is, I've failed more times than most people that I know, because I've tried more new things than most people that I know. So now when something doesn't work, it's just like, all right, fine, all right. And so the question of what kind of entrepreneurs do I coach badass entrepreneurs. And if you're asking what a badass entrepreneur is, sorry, you're not one. All right. You have to be willing to step full force into the things that you don't know. Like I say this all the time. You have to jump off the cliff first, and then you figure out how to grow wings. Yeah. Right. You have to be outside of certainty. Now, as long as you're willing to do that, I'll be there with you. Yeah. And that's what I do. I have taken over 1,000 entrepreneurs through a transformational process where they start on one side of who they are and become an entirely new version of themselves, because I'm giving them the little mile markers along the way. Like they're saying, this feels really scary. Like I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I go, awesome. Like you're supposed to be feeling this. Right. Here's what's going to happen next. Here's what you'll be thinking next. Right. So when they start thinking these things, they go, oh, Coach Dan said I was going to, want to quit. Great. Right. I'm right on target. I didn't have that when I was going through this. Like I had to deconstruct my entire process and figure it out for myself. Yeah. That's why my clients don't have to waste $80,000 and destroy a business, right? They can pay me a lot less, a little less, but right?
A little less, yeah.
Right, yeah. And look, there's, like I said, you can't do things on your own. And what I've gotten a lot of help, a lot of mentorship. I've also searched and researched tools and things to help me. And one of the things that I learned is that there are 4 things that entrepreneurs don't get or struggle with that they need help with, and I can give them help. Entrepreneurs don't get enough sleep. Now, when I say that to most people, they're like, sleep. But like, it's the most important thing. You have to get sleep. Yeah. you have to know how to relieve your stress.
Yes.
Because if you're at a high stress level, your creative pipeline gets shut down and you cannot create. All right. You have to know how to enhance your focus and you have to optimize your performance.
Yes.
I started using this tool called Newcom. It's this binaural beats. It's music, right? It's an app on my phone.
Okay.
Right. And I started using this and it has changed I'm getting more sleep. I'm more focused. Right. And so I got in touch with this company. I'm like, what is going on with this? And it turns out that over 50 professional sports teams use this, the Department of Defense, Special Forces, the Navy SEALs. It's been used in over 2 million surgeries instead of general anesthesia. Just listening to this. So I got them to give me some free, some free usage of it.
Sure.
And all you have to do, if you want to use it, just text the word CALM, CALM, to this number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366. Text the word CALM, CALM. I'm in love. Like all of my clients use it. Everybody that I come in, it has changed. And look, I tried everything. I tried meditation. I suck at that. I tried microdosing.
High energy.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you tried that too, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, it's fun.
Yeah.
But this is the only thing. And Deanna, I do this every day. Like right before this episode, I Newcomed because I wanted to be in this Zen state where my mind is open. You're asking me how come I have so much energy? Text CALM, CALM, to 213-409-8366. You're going to find out.
Yeah. I've actually had someone on the show that was using binaural beats for an inner ear disturbance that he had. Then he found out that it was useful for other things. So I know a little bit about that. I've heard good things.
Yeah, and look, there's a bunch of them out there, but this is the only one that's patented and has a class 3 medical device from the FDA, right? And a class 3 medical device is like a heart monitor, a pacemaker, like it's a high level thing. And they've used it for treating anxiety, depression, insomnia. People who have PTSD have been relieved from it. It's a great tool. That's all I'm going to, okay, that's the value I want to
okay, so that was, you bring a lot of other value. So all your badass entrepreneur clients that you work with, when they come to work with you, are they on the verge of failure or are they stuck in their business? Like, what is at the point that they say, hey, I need to get with Dan Gordon Enterprise and he needs to beam me up, Scotty, because...
Thank you. I'm slowly falling in love with you. So that's a really good question. Like, when is the right time? So I'll say this. The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago.
Right.
The second best time to plant a tree is right now. Okay. So that said, when you know you're struggling, like when you come to a point where you say, I should be making more money, this should be working. I know I'm smarter than this person or this company over here, but they're killing it and I'm not. What's going on?
Yeah.
When you reach the what's going on part, that's when that's a great time to contact me. Because before that, if you're just looking to like make some more money or grow your business or dip your toe in and just get some ideas, I'm not that guy. Because we're going to hit it hard. We're going to go in deep. We're going to do an exploration of who you are and how you think of yourself, because that guides you to what you create. I'm going to say it this way. Deanna, if you look at your world, and I'm looking at your world, like you have this beautiful space that you live in. I see this award, right?
Yeah.
Your world is a physical manifestation of what you believe about yourself, right? You look around, you have great friends, you have this cool relationship, you have good things going on. So that tells me that Deanna has been through the muck of life to get to a point where she values herself. You get you.
Yeah.
Right? Now, conversely, if you look around, you're like, my friends are kind of jerks, or I'm not making the kind of money that I want. It's not that you have to change the outside. You have to start with the inside.
Yeah.
You have to start saying, you know what? If I have friends that are kind of jerks, then that's what I believe I deserve.
Yeah.
If I'm not making the kind of money, I have a bad relationship with money. I think money's hard to make.
Hmm.
Right. And people have said to me, oh, so what? I just changed my opinion about money and like suddenly, my bank account, like flourishes. No,
Yeah.
but it's how you start.
Right.
It's the beginning. And what's really cool is as people start to create this change with me, and usually within the first 3 months of working with me, I'm already getting my clients paid back for what they pay me, right? They've already earned enough that it's paying for what they're paying me and then plenty more, right?
Sure.
So they're already noticing changes. They're saying things like, the way that I'm interacting with my clients or prospects is so different now. Like, what have you done to me? Like I hear all the time, Coach Dan, you are in my head.
Yeah. So do you find that when you start working with them, they have a little resistance around, because I think an entrepreneur can be a little stubborn in the way that they look at how business works versus how they look at themselves, and they don't realize that the two are pretty aligned.
Yeah. So it's funny, Deanna, because the more stubborn, the better. Because I am working with this person right now who had a call scheduled with me today, and she canceled it. Right? She canceled her session, and I know that she canceled it because she didn't complete the assignment that I asked her to do, and she was feeling bad about it. And I sent her a text, and I said, "You cannot cancel the session. Like you have to show up every week. Like we're building something here." I said, "You have to trust me. I know what I'm doing." And the thing that I'm excited about is I know that once I move her past this stubbornness, and really stubbornness is just another way of saying I'm beating myself up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what stubbornness is.
Yeah.
Right? Once I move her past that, she's going to be free of that. And so much goodness is going to pour into her life.
Yeah.
But the stubbornness is power, right? It's the dark side of the force, right? It's that thing, right?
The illusion of
power.
The illusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really well said, right? Because if I'm stubborn, I'm pushing against you. I'm showing you how powerful I am. But really, I'm just afraid.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But that fear can be transformed into energy, into power. Like when I was teaching personal development, I loved it when I had a class that hated me because all that energy I was going to shift.
Yeah.
And they would fall in love with me. And it happened weekend after weekend, right? The worst thing was like this dead course where nobody had any energy.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people, you got to bring it. Like, I'm going to help you bring all of you.
Yeah.
Right. And when you see you're going to be astounded. And look, I've listened to your podcast. I know your audience. And I'm telling you, the listener who are listening right now, you are Superman flying coach.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine you get on an airplane and you see Superman and coach. You go, what are you doing? You can fly.
Yeah, exactly. I like
right
an analogy.
And you are you're Superman flying coach. There is greatness in you who are listening, and all you have to do to unlock it is start asking your friends, who am I? Who am I really? What parts of me are you seeing that I don't see? And they're going to start telling you things about you, and you're going to go, nah, right? But these are your friends. They're good friends, not the bullshit friends, the friends that you trust.
Right, the good friends. If you're lucky, you've got one really good friend in this world, if not more. But
at least, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
And, Deanna, a big part of the things that hold entrepreneurs back, I call it the gap. And the gap is the place in between where you are and where you want to be. And so if you think of like you're on one cliffside and on the other cliffside, maybe 15, 20 feet away, not that far, is everything that you want.
Yeah.
Now in between those two cliffside is a 1,000-foot drop.
Right.
And so there's a lot of fear about jumping that gap. Right. But all that fear are stories. Stories says, I can't, it's too hard, right? And the thing is that drop, that 1,000-foot drop, it's a hologram. It's not real, but you're attached to that. Yeah. And so all of these stories, like, I'm not ready yet, it's too hard, I need to wait. Right, I'm not worthy. Or my favorite one, it's too expensive. It's not too expensive. You got to change your relationship with money. These are all stories. And when you jump that gap, you kill your story. And so I wrote a book called Jumping the Gap, Kill Your Story, and Take Action. And I'd like to give that to your audience.
Oh my
right?
gosh. Awesome. Okay.
Okay. This is not a funnel. Okay. Text the word GAP, GAP, to that same number, 213-409-8366. Text GAP, GAP, to 213-409-8366. And you get my book. There's nothing to buy. There's no sales funnel. There's not, oh, this is free, but buy this thing. I'm just giving you the book, right?
I love it. That's awesome.
I hate this stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's get into where else, aside from texting you for a free book and the binaural beats, where else can they find you and connect with you and learn more about working with you?
Jump onto LinkedIn. Just do a search on LinkedIn for Coach Dan Gordon. And I have set a challenge for myself to record one video a day.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah. And I'm cranking these out. And it's not easy. Like the first 10 were pretty easy. Then I start thinking, first of all, is this working? Do people like this? Right? Are people gonna, right? And I'm getting more like bold in these. And I know sooner or later, someone is going to get offended, right? But
most likely.
But that's what, right? But the thing is, I gotta walk my talk, right? I gotta get out there and challenge people's beliefs. Yeah. So I'm doing these videos every day. Sometimes I'm using like movies, like I just used Apollo 13 and talked about that, and they're all dedicated to business growth and development, right? It's all ideas about how to step into higher versions of yourself. Yeah. It's like when people come to me, and this is one of the videos, they come to me and they say, how do I get more clients? And I say, you've already failed. Yeah. Because if you're asking the question, how do I get more clients for me? Right. Where's your focus, Deanna? Yeah. Right? It's on yourself. Right. Instead, you have to ask yourself the question, what is it that my clients are lacking? Yeah. Where are they struggling? And how can I help them without them spending a dime? Right? You start there with the spirit of service. And it doesn't mean you give it away, right? But you give away a lot. Yeah. I give away books, I give away videos, I give away a lot, right? And I do that because I know that when somebody is really touched by what they read, by what they see, by by their experience of me, they're going to come calling. Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah. Right. And then there's the difference there, that being wanting to serve versus what's in it for me. Yeah. And it's hard to get out of that. Look, when I was $80,000 out, that's all I was thinking. And I was literally, people would,
I'm sorry, I have to laugh every time you say that.
I was talking to this one person, and they were interested in coaching with me. And I knew it was going to be a nightmare. I knew they weren't into it. And I said, look, this just isn't right for you, And they're like, I don't know. I think I could. And I said, you're just not there. Like, you're going to have to do something big and fail and then call me. I hung up the phone and I'm like, what did I just do? I need this money. Yeah. But the fact is, my other business failed because I was out of integrity with myself. I wasn't going to launch this one and do the same thing. I'd rather live under a bridge for a little while. Thank God that never happened. Than start another business out of integrity. Yeah. And that's just been, it's got to be it, right? You have a vision for what you want to bring to the world. Yeah. And you have to move towards that vision. Yes. Beautiful. Well, with that being said, you guys are going to put those numbers in Gap and Calm, the number and those two to text him. And then also I'll put the link to his LinkedIn. So if you really connected with Coach Dan and really love his energy like I do, don't hesitate to go connect with him. Reach out, go watch some of his videos, get the free book, and get some binaural beats in your head to help you. I'm going to give you one more thing, because I mean, I love you. I love your audience. I'm going to give you one more keyword to text in. Okay. Because you can book a 15-minute no-cost call with me. I won't try to sell you anything, but I will show you a glimpse of how badass your life can be. So if you text the word HELP, H-E-L-P, to that same number, 213-409-8366. So that's three things: help, calm, right? And gap. And gap. Yeah. Right.
Lots of gifts, a lot of free gifts
Right.
in this episode, you guys. So take advantage. Take advantage. Coach Dan, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you leave with us today?
What you know about yourself has been based on an entire lifetime of building blocks that began when you were between the ages of 0 and 6. And so there's a good chance that the way you operate your life is on a foundation that isn't quite aligned with who you are today.
Yeah.
So how you think of yourself needs to be put into question. And that's why I'm suggesting talk to your friends, talk to the people who know you, talk to the people that you trust and ask, who am I?
Yeah.
And build from there.
I love it. Wow. Well, thank you for bringing the energy and taking us onto the enterprise. Coach Dan, what a pleasure. We could continue this conversation, so we might have to have a part 2. So thank you very much for all that you do and sharing your story, because that was not an easy thing to get through, but look where you are today. Amazing.
Look where I am, and you can be there too. Thank you, Deanna. This has been a joy.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.